Hi, I'm Steve Thompson, president of Emery Thompson Machine.
And I'm Christi Brown, vice president of sales and marketing.
Welcome to Questions Answered, which we do every single Wednesday. So if you're just tuning in, make sure you keep checking this channel every Wednesday and we'll have new information for you. My first question is actually going to end up being a little bit of a history lesson. We had a repairman call last week. Hi, Sammy. We had a repairman call last week, and he was working on an Emery Mark batch freezer, and he wanted to know what was our affiliation with Emery Mark, and where does he get the oil for the transmission. Well, it was a bit of an odd question because I can't see why anyone would need to change oil in a transmission. But a little history on his question about affiliation with our two companies. There is none. When I was just out of grad school in 1972, I started working full-time for Emery Thompson. Before then, I'd been working just on the assembly lines and doing refrigeration. But I started full-time, and there was a new startup company out of Mexico in 1972 called Emery Mark. It was curious because Emery was spelled E-M-E-R-Y, exactly the way my grandfather spelled it. And Mark was a well-known at the time Italian ice cream machine company that made continuous freezers. Those are the ones that are 1,000 gallons an hour instead of the sizes that we build. And so this company called themselves Emery Mark. I don't know if there's any affiliation between it all or not, except the word Emery is interesting because the Great Britons, otherwise known as the Normans, way back when, used the name Emery Thompson, or excuse me, Emery, to denote industrious. And that certainly describes my grandfather. He was certainly industrious. He invented the world's first mechanized batch freezer and got a patent for it in 1905, and the company was founded the year before, in 1904. So this is our 119th year in business. The name Mark, like I said, in 1972 was a continuous freezer manufacturer, and probably the largest in the world at the time making those kinds of machines. You look up the incorporation of Emery Mark and it says 2019. I don't understand it. I knew them back in 1972. They're assembled in Mexico, and we are handmade in the state of Florida. But to answer the repairman's question, there is no affiliation between our companies. Yes, we did build Electrofreeze, all of Electrofreeze batch freezers for about 28 years, but there's no affiliation between us and the company Emery Mark, except for sharing my grandfather's name. And also, I don't understand why you would have to change the oil in a transmission. So that's a little bit of a history lesson.
Okay. My history lesson for the day is how do you change the dasher shaft O-rings on your CB350? This method also applies to the center shaft on your 24 quart and your 44 quart. We do have a video that you can watch on how to do it. Your O-ring should sit nice and tight, and this is what you lubricate. You don't need to lubricate the entire, shaft, just the two O-rings. But you're going to start with the bottom O-ring, and you're just going to lift up on the O-ring and then hold it up with your thumb, and then you'll be able to just walk around the rest of the O-ring and then pop it off and then roll it off. Funny little thing is if you try to take this one off first, when you go to take the next one off underneath it, when you go to roll it off, it's just going to pop right back into the same.
How'd you know I've done that?
Yeah, we've all done it. So start with your bottom one first. And it's not a special tool. It's not a pick. It's just a little mini flathead screwdriver. I would suggest sticking with that and not a pick because you could, poke into that, or you could, make a little perforation in it to where it might break open. You never know. So just get you a little mini flathead screwdriver. Doesn't matter any size, could be a little bit bigger, could be even tinier than that, and then just pop it off and then just roll it off and you're good to go. But we have a video, so if you need to see how to actually do it, they are on your touch screen on the larger models, the CB350 and the 24 quart for the new ones. And if you don't, just give one of us a call here at the office and we'll send you that video.
However, if you would like an official Emery Thompson O-ring removal tool, I have some old butter knives at home, and we could certainly let you have it for 4 easy payments of $9.95. It's not necessary. Let's see, what else do I have? The customer writes, I know this is not popular, but I use 5% soft serve mix in my Emery Thompson batch freezer. Also, I'm trying to calculate how much overrun I'm getting, and to make it a trifecta of question, I also use alcohol in all my ice creams. I have a 24 quart batch freezer and make mostly alcohol ice cream sold to a nearby racetrack. What a great business that sounds like. That's terrific. The main question being the overrun. Just so you'll know, ice cream, in order to call it ice cream, and you have mentioned this before, is 10% butterfat or higher, with the highest I've seen in the country around 17, 18%. That's really almost too rich. 10% is great. They're all great. It depends on your personal taste. But the 5% is, which will work, it's going to have a higher sugar content in it to compensate for the fat, is going to be very difficult, or more difficult, to get overrun or air into the ice cream, because the fat, the dairy fat, is only 5% as opposed to a 12 or a 14, so you just don't have the fat cells. Also, the addition of the alcohol is going to suppress the air content, because alcohol freezes at about minus 210 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's just sitting there in suspension. We are the only machines that you can put alcohol right into the machine and have the product freeze up nicely. But both of those two things are going to combat the air content. But otherwise, you would set my exclusive infinite overrun control, which I invented 23 years ago now. You would set that for homemade, and that's going to bring you to the maximum RPM speed of the machine. So, pretty simple.
Okay, so people have asked, well, a specific customer asked about the squishy buckets. So this right here is an extremely squishy tub. Steve doesn't know where this comes from. Jeff doesn't know where this came from. Nobody knows. There's no name on it. We don't know. It's very squishy. But this is made by Pro Western. They have a nice tub, and it's 2.5 gallon, and you can squeeze it just like that. What are they good for? Well, for one, they make really good variegates. Jeff has a video on how to do that. If you also want that link, just let me know, and I can email you the video to watch on how to make a really, really pretty variegate using the tubs where you squish it like this. Others would be good to fill it into maybe a smaller container. They are great because once they get cold, they're not going to snap in half like a lot of the other tubs might. These are made by Pro Western. If you would like the link, you can get that from Webstaurant, or you can get from them directly. If you'd like the link for that, I'm a link today. If you want the link for this, if you want the video for that.
If you're a squishy, it's hard to say. If you're a squishy tub manufacturer, please call Christi, because we could sell thousands of these for you.
Especially one like this. So we have a lot of people who have seen it in the videos, and we can't tell you where this came from.
And he uses that for variegating ice cream.
He does.
Adding the butterscotch swirl on.
Yep.
Wow. Boy, we could sell those if we knew where they were. My last one is a little bit self-serving on behalf of Emery Thompson Machine. A customer wrote in a glowing report. We have just tons and tons of reviews of our company, and they're all 5.0. Amazon, I guess, won't give you a 5.0. They give you a 4.9. But we have a lot of them. But I like this one, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to share it. Andrew Cox writes, our batch freezer was ordered on Friday afternoon, and I was told standard lead time is 4 to 6 weeks. It was delivered to our shop in pristine condition 13 days later. I order from and deal with distributors and manufacturers of all types. There are very few businesses, if any, I got interrupted. There are very few businesses, if any, of any kind where you can place a call and within a few seconds you're speaking directly with the president of the company. Hey, that's me. And he tells you, call any time and he'll help you. Emery Thompson is one of those companies. Their product is well made and they don't have to hide behind voicemail, automated services, or call centers. I would recommend Emery Thompson products to anyone without hesitation. Andrew, thank you very much. No, we don't have call centers, and we are available 7 days a week to help you. You can actually call and ask for me if the offices are closed. We are still open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. You leave a message and a phone number, and one of us is going to call you back. And if it's Sunday night at 8:30, it's most likely going to be me. So that's it for this week, and we will see you next week. And thank you very much for tuning in.
Bye, guys.
Bye.